back. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.
All I wanna do is have some fun. I got a feeling I'm not the only one. All I wanna do is have some fun.
Welcome back to Boomer Life here on CL 650. There's Sheryl Crow, just looking for a little fun, aren't we all, as we start a brand new year. Happy New Year to you on this Saturday morning. We're talking about retirement living. Our guests are from Shannon Oaks in Vancouver. Jillian Fullerton is part of the team out there. She's sales and marketing manager for Baptist Housing BC, based at Shannon Oaks in East Vancouver. And also with us in studio, back by popular demand, is Olive Farah, who is a long-time resident of Shannon Oaks, almost 8 years, 7 and darn close to 8. Olive, take us back almost 8 years ago and tell us how you came to Shannon Oaks, because as I recall, you just told us a few minutes ago in our opening segment, before your real estate agent kind of referred you to this, because once you took the decision to sell your condo, it was kind of a brick wall after that. You hadn't really thought much past that, and you had no clue about retirement communities, did you?
Never heard of it before. No, it's all new to me.
Okay. So, first of all, why did you decide that it was time to move out of a condo and into a retirement community?
Well, my husband's health was deteriorating.
Okay.
And I was getting tired of house cleaning and running out, looking after him, different things like that.
Right.
And I said, I made the suggestion, let's give it a shot and sell. And we sold it. First people that came in bought it. So
you and your husband took this decision upon yourselves?
Mm-hmm.
Your children weren't involved?
No, I didn't want to be, make our children make the decision for us. We wanted to do it ourselves.
Okay. So you lucked into the first people who came by for the first showing of the condo, and darn if they didn't snap the thing right up.
That's right.
Well, and that's great on one hand, because that's done. But
and
now
they gave
what?
us 3 months.
Okay.
3 months, so that, gave us time to look around. But our real estate agent said, try Shannon Oaks across the street. You'll like it. And it just fell into our laps. There was one suite available, 2 bedrooms, and we said okay.
Did you do any comparison shopping?
No, that was it.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. Had you, before you decided that because of health issues that you needed to sell and move into a more controlled environment, before that, though, had you any clue about retirement community living, or had you moved to the condo specifically because, well, this is it?
I never heard of retirement. There was no, I don't recall ever seeing anything written about it. Nothing.
You're too busy looking after your husband.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So let me ask you about that, if you don't mind, because you were saying that in the condo, with your husband's health deteriorating, it became quite a burden for you to attend to his needs and demands, and at the same time enjoy some degree of quality of life on your own. How much easier did that get when you moved into Shannon Oaks?
Oh my gosh, I just felt like the weight was lifted off my shoulders. I didn't have to shop. The food is prepared.
Right.
They clean my apartment. They wash the bedding and everything. It was so much easier for me, Sterling.
The Vancouver Sun a couple of weeks ago ran a big 2-pager on something called caregiver burnout. And they went into, they talked to shrinks and all sorts of sociologists and all the rest of it, and really did a very good job on what happens to people who care for other people. In many cases, and perhaps you can relate to this to some degree, Olive, in many cases, care for the other person becomes so all-consuming, they forget to take care of themselves.
Yeah, that's right. I found it very hard. I'm a walker. I used to walk quite a bit, but I found that when I walked, it was always under pressure, had to get back at a certain time.
Sure.
And my health was kind of going downhill myself, and the social worker that we had to contact in order to place my husband elsewhere for care. She said if I didn't take care of myself and tend to my husband's placement, that I was going to be in the hospital before him.
Interesting stuff. Now, Jillian, this is not an unusual circumstance for you at all. You're
Yeah.
the front line out there at Shannon Oaks. You're the person that a lot of us, particularly boomers, are going to talk to when we knock on the door and talk to Lois at the front desk. She'll
Yes,
probably pick
right.
up the phone and say, "Let me get Jillian for you," and so she will. And so, in many cases, you're going to sit down either with a senior like Olive,
Yes.
or you're going to sit down with a boomer,
That's
perhaps the caregiving eldest daughter or
Yes.
daughter-in-law,
Very
and
true.
you're looking at someone who's you can see is really starting to wear pretty thin, and
Exactly.
in many cases it's a boomer. It's a fairly youngish
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
So this caregiver burnout thing is quite a serious matter.
It is, and the quality of life, I think their quality of life goes downhill very quickly. They can sustain it for so long. And I would just suggest that now that we're in 2015, perhaps we should, one should look at making a New Year's resolution of taking care of yourself
Right.
as well.
Well, you know, it is resolution season, Olive. Have you made any resolutions for
No,
2015
I have no
yourself?
time to think about that. I just think about today,
Well,
the moment.
Good for you. I'm not much on resolutions myself because I always disappoint myself. So why bother going through the exercise?
Well, I think at some point you have to, take stock of what's happening in your life, and it's good to resolve to make some changes if you think they're necessary.
some
If you
people are going to quit smoking. Some
Yeah.
people are going to lose 15 pounds.
Oh.
Some people are going to take a vacation for the first time in 5 years.
Yeah.
And other people are going to sort out their lives and help their parents sort out their lives to the benefit and betterment of all parties.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, in my own case with my mother, she lived in New Westminster. I lived in Vancouver. I had 2 small children. I was running back and forth. I was working as well. So running back and forth after work to make sure that she had food on the table, was eating. And eventually it turned out she would not eat unless I was there with her.
Right. You see, that's the classic case of what we boomers are confounded by.
yes.
That's the classic sandwich generation.
That's
You-
right.
You had kids
Yeah.
who were in school
Yeah.
and looking
Yeah.
to mom for
Yeah.
support. You had a job,
Yeah.
and you had an aging parent who needed you.
Yes.
It's
So
very taxing on the marriage. It can break
Oh.
up marriages. I've seen it happen.
I can well imagine,
Yes.
Olive.
Yeah.
So how did that work out? How did you eventually resolve that? Did Mom finally move into a seniors
Yes,
community?
she did. She finally moved into a seniors community, and she loved it.
Right.
Because she was just like Olive. She was a very social person.
Right.
She flowered, but she could have moved sooner.
Right. Now,
She could have moved
Yeah, that's
sooner.
the problem. They
She-
wait too long.
That's right.
Much
My
too long.
mother, health started to deteriorate. Well, she was there for 6 months, and then her health started to go,
oh, okay.
which was unfortunate. But she loved it when she was there. She was entertaining at meals. She was inviting her friends in. It was wonderful.
Olive, I wanted to speak to you about this because after having toured the premises and having a really good understanding now visually, as well as meeting you and some of your friends there, and you're a very gregarious, outgoing person, which is why
You
you're
think so?
backed by popular demand on the radio. But I wonder if you could help my mom. My mom's in her 90s. She's not a very social person. She enjoys a game of cards with friends, people she knows, but she has difficulty making friends. She's kind of shy. How would a person like that work in or fit in an environment like Shannon Oaks?
Well, they're introduced to the other residents when they move in, first of all. And you have a name tag. Everybody is supposed to should wear a name tag.
Until
and
you get to know each other.
Yeah, and then you introduce yourselves, and
Right.
you say,
Share
I've
meals.
brought, I forget her name, Janine. In she asked me one day if I would show her how to work the computers.
Okay.
I'm not an expert. I just know games and email. That's all.
All right.
And I brought her in there. That's what you do. You just interact. invite them
Yes.
to do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
I don't like to see them sitting in the corner.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I guess what we're looking at here are some of the myths surrounding some of these retirement communities. And the fact is that some people, and Jillian, you hear this all the time, you hear the excuses. I'm not ready yet. I have too much stuff.
Yes.
And also, there is a fear, Olive, among some that you forfeit your independence. Every second of every day is going to be micromanaged by some social
Exactly.
director
It's not like that at all.
who's not going to give you a chance to
No.
catch a decent breath on your own all day
Yeah,
long.
no, it's not like that at all. Yeah.
So what is it like?
Well, you can, when you open your eyes in the morning and you're going to get out of bed, you can stay in bed if you want. If you don't want to go down for breakfast, stay in your apartment.
Okay.
You get all the supplies the night before on a little buffet table. And they give you your cereal and your jam, peanut butter, and everything else. You can go down and exercise if you wish or not. You can do what you want when you want to do it if you want to do it.
Right. So
And if
nobody's
you're-
going to force you
No,
into doing
never.
anything.
But
No.
there's lots to do.
There's
and
lots to do.
choose from.
Well, I know, and there's a monthly calendar of activities
Yeah.
that's published. Is that available on the website as well as hard copies around the building? Because I saw a
should
number.
be. I think it should. I'll check.
Okay,
That's a good point.
because if you want to have an idea of, because as Olive just said, every day there's something to do. I was there on a Tuesday, and there was this going on in the morning, and then there was something at lunch, and there was something in the early afternoon, and then there was tea, and then there was something else, and that was just one day. And so, but what you're suggesting here, Olive, is that's your choice. If you want to participate in any or all of those events, off you go.
Yes.
But if you don't, no one's going to force you.
That's
That's
right.
right.
Like today, there's a flower. We do the flowers for this week is a birthday day for all the residents that have a birthday. We decorate each table in the afternoon with flowers.
Okay.
And we have a class on how to arrange the flowers for each phase, and there's about 10.
Well, my birthday's on Monday, on January 5th. So set aside
there
one of
you
those
go.
little flower arrangements for me. will
And then
ya?
we get to keep them after the party's
Oh,
over.
okay.
We get what we prepared. We take it upstairs.
Well, that's great. And by the way, do you drive?
Yes.
So you have a car?
Yes.
Still parked in the garage downstairs?
Yes.
And that's no big deal at all, is it,
No
Julia?
big
Not
deal at all.
So you can go out and do what you usually do. Don't park your lifestyle at the door. Bring it with you.
And what about pets? Is Shannon
Pets
Oaks
are
pet friendly?
permitted. Yes. We don't want giant dogs.
Right,
If you've got-
right,
If you've
right.
got a nice 20-pound dog, that's fine.
Okay.
What I was going to say too is that with the lonely person we were talking about, or with the more shy, reticent person
Yes,
we were
right.
talking
Using
about.
my mom as the example.
Yes, using your mom.
Right.
Your mom, when she comes, would be seated for lunch and dinner at two different tables with other people.
Right.
We would select as we got to know your mother, we try to understand her and say, oh, she would be good with this person
Right.
because they have the same interests.
Mhm.
And we would place them at that table. And so she would get to know the table mates really well for lunch, different ones at lunch
Right.
and different ones at dinner.
Sure.
So that she could get to know those people really well. If she didn't like the table, all she needs to do is saddle up to Lois and say, Lois, do you think you could change the table?
Sure.
And Lois would be happy to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
German
Yeah.
people, sitting with German people because they understand each other.
Right, of
They're-
course.
We speak their language.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
You know.
A little
Yeah.
bit of the old country right
That's
there
right.
in your
Yes,
living room.
That's right.
Well, that's interesting.
So there is that, for the people that are more shy, let's put it that way, there is that smaller group at lunch and dinner that you can get to know people.
Okay.
And they will introduce you to other things. Why don't you come down to, we've got a gentle exercise class,
Mhm.
or there's a lecture on arthritis. Why don't you come to that with me?
Right, right.
That sort of thing will happen.
I think in my mom's case, and all of you were there too, you had your first day at Shannon Oaks, and I'm sure you felt like you were about 6, and it was your first day at school.
Yeah.
Just that
So it's a little-
nerves in
yeah.
an alien world,
Yeah,
and
that's
all of a
right.
sudden there you are for the first time going, oh man, what's this going to be
But
like?
yeah, I recognized different people that new members of my family. We were all connected in some way, and I've made wonderful friends there. Perry and I go out
Oh, you
shopping
do?
now.
Yeah.
We're always giggling and getting into mischief.
Oh,
and
good for you.
we're just We're
Yeah.
just having a wonderful
She met
time.
Perry when she was there.
Yeah,
This is a new friend.
Just
and now
a new
they're
friend.
close friends.
and
Oh,
we're
great.
close.
Yeah.
Well, that's
New
excellent.
relationships happen,
Right.
which is great.
All right. We're talking Shannon Oaks. We're talking retirement community living. And as we are just in the earliest days of 2015, we're also talking about maybe giving you some information that will help maybe accomplish one of those New Year's resolutions to improve not only your life, but also the lives of some of the seniors in your life. We'll take a quick break here, and we're back with lots more. Stay tuned to Boomer Life on CIL 650.
Canada's only weekly radio show dedicated to the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on CIL 650.